Happy Wednesday, everyone. This is Frank Ticos dropping knowledge coming at you once again with a little bit of a message, a little bit of knowledge. Hoping everyone's having a fantastic Wednesday. First and foremost, shout out to all the people that have subscribed to my video. Just watching the growth every day, little by little, motivates me to put out more content. I really appreciate everyone that's been watching my videos, that's been hitting the like on my videos, that's been commenting and engaging with me with their funny and intelligent remarks. I really appreciate you, as well as all of us that go on the lives with ExposedTube and are part of that community. Shout out to ExposedTube and everyone that's a part of it. As you know, part of our mission statement is not just to point out the weirdos and the creeps that are on these spaces, encroaching women and children, but also putting out, as much education and knowledge as possible. And this video today that I'm putting out there is a part of that. I do try to, drop a video a day, but Monday I wasn't able to, and I think that that's what's going to get this story going, this video going. But Saturday and Sunday I spent, my day out there at the beach with my family. I think I was under the sun too long and not drinking enough water. So Monday I had a really bad migraine. I was really dehydrated. I spent my day between the couch in my living room to my bed and just drinking water, trying to get back up to speed, and doing little clippings. I was clipping little things that ended up becoming the content that I dropped yesterday. So if you haven't already watched those videos, YA Baby and TikTok Rodents, I invite you to please go check those out. Hit the like button. I hope you enjoy them. This is going to be a video that I put out today. I'm also working on something that I'm editing. I hope I was able to put it out this afternoon. It don't stop. It won't ever stop. Well, while I was, feeling a little bad Monday, but even before that, on Saturday, I did drop a video that I ended up removing. I removed it because my family was in it, and I was walking around just showing you guys, or I wanted to show you guys, the beach and the pier here in La Libertad, which is like 45 minutes, 30 minutes away from my house. But my family was there, and I got like a threat. I got a threat, like some guy threatened my life on that video, and I removed the comment, and I reported the comment because I take those things seriously. I know that nothing's going to happen to me. I'm not. It's not so much fear. It's just the fact that number one, I don't want any of that on my channel. Number two is that I think that there has to be something really wrong with people to take things so far as to put out a death threat on someone on YouTube, on social media, just because you don't like that I'm going at a content creator that you do like, right? I think it's pretty strange. And I also know that a lot of these content creators want and allow and sort of motivate their trolls and their torpedoes to go out there and attack. So, before I ever threaten anyone, before I ever do any of that, I have to check myself. Right, because if I feel so strongly as going out there and threatening someone, there definitely has to be something wrong with me, right? I don't believe in threats. I believe in action. I believe that if you have so much hate in your heart that you feel that you need to threaten someone's life because you don't like their position, you don't like their opinion, then you got things that you need to work on, right? And your problem is not me. It's something much deeper than that. And that got me to thinking, right? So Monday, like I said, I wasn't feeling very good. But I was already thinking about the content that I wanted to put out, which ended up being the two videos that I put out. But I was also reading some stuff online, right? And I'm going to share those two links at the end. When I'm done with this video, I'm going to share that so you guys can go check them out, regarding past glory, right? Living in the past and, continuously reliving past glory, which I think a lot of these content creators that we point out or that are against us or against me and personally, that's the problem that they have. That they're still reliving these glory days in their mind, like the times in which they were in positions of power behind bars or on the street while they were in their criminal enterprises, right? And like I understand it. And I think that anybody that's stuck in that cycle of violence or that's stuck in the penitentiary system, you kind of have to, continue to look into that past and to look into that energy and continue putting it out there, because that's kind of what's going to allow you to survive certain situations. And sometimes you have to muster that energy in order for you to do the illegal things that you are probably continuing to do, whether on the street or behind bars, if you're still living that life, right? And that's why it's so important for us to differentiate who we're talking about here, right? We're talking about YouTube content creators that are still glorifying prison and gangs and the criminal lifestyle, okay? That is exactly who we're putting on blast. And it's exactly their trolls that come out and threaten and do all of these things and so forth. The only challenge that has been put out there has been by ExposedTube, and it's been towards Dub to meet up and have a one-on-one, which we already know is never going to happen, right? That's it. That's all that's been done. But as far as doxing, threatening, or wishing death upon people, that's never going to come from us. And from this very video on, I'm letting all my subscribers know, everyone in ExposedTube know, that we don't want that to ever happen. No, don't ever fall into the thought process of, I need to go threaten these guys, to gain points. You're not going to earn points with us, because we're not even doing that. That's not what we're about, right? You guys saw the mission statement. We're going to stick to that, and that is it. It don't stop. It won't stop. But having gone through that, feeling terrible Monday, and while I was clipping things and looking for the different things I wanted to put content out, I ran into some articles, and it talked about the glory days, right? It talked about glory days and how you're like living in the past and constantly living on those glory days has a crippling effect on your growth now, like on what you can do for your life or for others or your family or your loved ones at the present, right? Sometimes people live in their glory days because that's when they felt important, and maybe now they're in a position or in a situation in their life where maybe they feel that they're not so important. Maybe they don't have a good job, or maybe they don't have a job, right? Or maybe they have a job, but they don't have a good position in that job. Maybe they're doing manual labor, or maybe they're not where they want to be within that job. Maybe they've lost family as a consequence to their past lifestyles, so they don't have a support system, they don't have loved ones around them, so they always go and retreat to the past, relive those glory days, and that's what gives them relevance. That's what gives them a sense of importance. But while that continues to be what gives you that sense of valor, you're missing out on opportunities here in the present. Sometimes people are fearful of moving on because new beginnings are exactly that. They're new beginnings. They require sometimes new knowledge. It requires sometimes letting your guard down, which is something that I've talked about in past videos. It requires you opening up to be taught, to be mentored. And whenever you step into the role of a student, that's a humbling experience that some people don't want to feel. Some people don't want to humble themselves. Some people have, ego drives them. We see that every day, right? When we're watching these lives and, when we're watching these fake people that are still glorifying the prison system, that's what gives them their importance. Someone on me coming onto this space, not glorifying prisons, not telling war stories, trying to drop knowledge, trying to educate people, I'm seen as a weenie. I've been called a homosexual. I've been called soft, all kinds of things, which is fine. Like that's not going to stop me. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't insult me. If anything, it just shows me where your minds are at, like where you guys are at intellectually, emotionally, and mature wise, right? It's really unfortunate that it's because of living in the past, being stuck in the past, that a lot of these men, and not just men on YouTube, but just people in general, sometimes their growth, their prosperity is stunted because they're not willing to let go of what they felt comfortable with, what they felt gave them status, right? That's why we hear these guys talk about I'm in good standing. There was this one guy in my comments, I removed all his comments because I was like, you know what, this it can't even spell right. Talking about you, well, yeah, I'm in good standing and I'm all of these things, and I'm gonna expose you for going after these guys. I'm like, what are you gonna expose, bro? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm putting myself out there. I'm not the strongest, smartest guy, but what I do know is that anytime we have an opportunity to better ourselves, I've learned to accept the challenge. I've learned to see everything as an opportunity to learn, as an opportunity to gain knowledge, as an opportunity to put my best foot forward all the time, as an opportunity to be a better example for my kids, as an opportunity to be a better neighbor, and to be someone that you can look to always tell you the truth. Now, I might not always be right. I make mistakes just like everybody does. For example, the, TikTok rodents video, that was supposed to be a short. I uploaded it wrong. Hey, it is what it is, right? Mistakes are made and we learn from them. But it's unfortunate when the past won't let you grow, right? Because of fear of being looked upon as someone that's just starting their life all over again at the age of 40, at the age of 50. Hey, it is what it is. We got to do what we got to do with what we have, with the opportunities that we're given. And while you continue to live in the past, while you continue to only think about the glory days, while you continue to glorify your past criminal activities and thinking that that makes you a man and that makes you better than everyone, the real world will continue to move on and you will be left behind. There's guys that are constantly talking about God. Some of these guys, have some torpedoes. They have their trolls that, that go into our comment sections or into the lives we're exposed to, talking about, God and all of these things. But they don't turn around and see that they have not given death, they have not crucified the old man. Like the old man that continues to live within them, that continues to be the ego that drives them to hate and to constantly talk about prison and to constantly talk about statuses. They have not given death to that person. So until you do that, until you realize just how wrong your messaging is, you're not moving the needle. But we are. Because people come into our spaces, people come into our channels. And besides the videos, for example, the videos where I'm trolling these guys, you're going to find videos such as this, in which I'm really trying to put out there the need to grow. Like, you have to be a student all the time. You have to be teachable. You have to be willing to humble yourself and learn. You have to be willing to be meek, right? Like a dove. But astute like a serpent. Always learning, but always ready to strike. That's what I'm about. I'm all for learning. I'm all for, like I've said many times before, redemption. Like if these guys came out here and said, you know what, I've learned something new, I want to share with you guys, you know what, I'm doing something for my life, I'm starting a new project, I'm starting to do this, I got back together with my wife, I was able to fix this relationship, then I can respect you because I can see that there are positive changes going on in your life that will inspire others. But while you continue talking that high-powered hoo boo hoo rah rah crap, that does not impress anyone. A lot of people will go to your channels because they watch you guys crash out, because they are trolls, or because they're very curious about the, life in seedy situations and in the underworld, but that does not mean that they respect you. I would rather have people, subscribe to me because they are understanding the message than for me to feel the need to come out here and put out war stories and talk about prison and inflate my ego just to get clicks and views. If that's what I have to do to get a large following, I won't do it. And that's why that's not my concern. My concern is not, having a large following. But those people that do follow my channel, those people that are subscribed to my channel, I know that they do it because they see who I am and they respect it, right? So there's nothing wrong with reminiscing. I do it. No, there's nothing wrong with, talking about maybe some fun aspects of having been in prison or having been out there on the street. I mean, I do it sometimes with my family, with my kids. As a matter of fact, we were having a conversation with my parents about that just, this weekend. My dad as well. Like my dad's been in AA for 40, what is it, like 45 years? My dad's a speaker in AA. He goes to different states. Like they'll pay for his trip, he'll and for his hotel, so that he can go and talk about his experiences and what he's learned through the process of AA. Like he's like an expert now, right? That's why I'm not really a heavy drinker. Like I drink sometimes, occasionally, but that's why I don't drink heavily because of what I hear my dad talking about. And I've seen it. Like I've seen it in some of his whole friends and one of my uncles who died because he had a very bad, addiction to alcohol. No, so I've been learning and gaining knowledge from a very young age of what to do and what not to do. Right. So if anything, the purpose of this particular video is just to let you know that you can continue to grow. You can continue to learn. Like that should not stop, regardless of your age, regardless of your past condition. And that's what we should all be striving for. We should all be striving to be a little bit better every single day, right? And to motivate each other to be better. And if I saw that in these guys, if I saw them actually putting it out there that they're learning something, that they're growing, that they're expanding in a positive way, to be an umbrella and to be a support for their family and their followers, I would applaud it. But in the meantime, while they continue to glorify all of what was wrong, all of what it was that got to them in a particular situation of going behind bars, if you continue to talk about it, if you continue even to cosplay as though you're living that life and as though you're still about that life, you get no respect. And not just from me, but from the many people that will eventually wake up to your bullshit. Having said that, I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of the day. And until next time, peace.